Many thanks for your time with me on Business Live. Now to a very fair story. The Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana is working to take action against firms that worked on some defunct financial institutions. It is investigating various roles played in collapsing these institutions for the necessary action to be taken. Eric Nana Nipa is the receiver for the liquidation of these defunct financial institutions. He spoke on the business edition of PM Express.
I'm not giving up. Okay, which brings me to the third thing we are doing. What we are doing is to bring in the law enforcement agencies. We are working very closely with YOCO in a collaborative arrangement to pursue, to locate, and to trace and track down assets. And when we track down, and we can take custody of them and realize them. So it's a very intensive exercise we are doing. And we are achieving some results.
Someone said that would be quite a long walk for you.
It is a long walk. That is how come it wasn't going to be possible for us to pay the depositors at this time, because it would have been, and it still is, a very long walk for us.
So, but don't you think that some will also say that could be an excuse for the receiver in the sense of their delays in realizing the assets then? Because if you say that you couldn't realize all the assets to pay the depositors, maybe a little different approach could have gotten you the money.
Not necessarily that, because it isn't the receiver alone working in this instance. We have the full might and support of YOCO. All right, and what it is what it is. All right, we have been able to recover and retrieve some of the assets, and indeed we have sold some of the assets. For example, motor vehicles. We have made some sales out of them. You know, but for a bank type or an SDI, a specialized deposit institution, all right, which is the context of what you speak to, the bulk of assets, the quality of assets should be mainly in loans and then in investments. But they are just not there, all right? But if you talk of fixed assets like motor vehicles, at least there are some there which we have recovered and we have secured and we are selling.
Does it mean that if you had gotten in earlier, it wouldn't really make any difference, because these are falsified claims on the books of these institutions?
There's a possibility. It is possible, because if it's non-existent, I mean, timing of your moving in becomes quite irrelevant, because it's non-existent, and they were subject to creative accounting. That's what it is.
Interesting. So, having all these things as a challenge, what have you been able to realize as at the end of January from these disposing some of these assets in value terms? Well,
in value terms, what we have realized combined is in the region of 100. It's in the region of 100 million cedis. That is what we've been able to recover, about 100 million cedis, made up of some cash in bank that we were able to wrestle, and also some motor vehicles that we've been able to make sales, and some loan recoveries that we have.
And these are for the microcredit, microfinance, and the savings
and loans.
That's, some would say, peanuts.
It is, actually, and that is reflective of the challenge I'm facing, that it is largely an assetless receivership, and something has to be done, because people need to be made to take responsibility for that. It has regulatory implications. It even has implications where accounting bodies are concerned.
Now, health officials in Nigeria have confirmed the country has recorded its first case of the deadly coronavirus. The Federal Ministry of Health, in a Twitter post, said the case was recorded in the commercial capital of Lagos. It is also the first case to be confirmed in West Africa since the outbreak in China in December 2019. But how prepared are our inland border posts to protect us from this deadly virus? Fred Tiho has more. Travelers troop in from neighboring countries, including Togo, Nigeria, and Benin, on a daily basis. Health professionals at the arrival hall were spotted with their protective equipment while subjecting travelers through screening with a computer and temperature guns from a distance. The health officer in charge of Port Health Services, Frank Sai, tells me they are leaving no stone unturned.
But we cannot point the camera directly outside because of the heat. So it's directed towards the immigration section, so that because it feels the temperature. The temperature is shown on the screen, so that if the temperature is above 37.5, it peaks. This is showing that the temperature is high. That should be the expected travel. You see. And when they come, they go through hand washing. We have the washing bay there. From there, they come to our table here and see the head decoration. Now, every traveler, all of them are made to fill the head decoration form. That we are making sure that we don't leave any stone unturned. Make sure all the travelers go through a message procedure and enable them to cross so that we won't have any case of the disease.
Africa's most populous nation, Nigeria, has become the first country in West Africa to confirm presence of the disease. This means the COVID-19 coronavirus is now closer to Ghana than ever before. A check from the Aplao Municipal Hospital, the major health post designated to handle cases of the virus, is still under renovation. Foreigners who are suspected to be carriers of the virus are subjected through rigorous procedures. This, the foreign travelers say, are too bureaucratic and cumbersome.
At the airport, we fill the same form, and then entering into Togo, we have to fill the same form, and coming back, we are filling another form. So we are thinking like too much of filling of forms, because we just entered Togo yesterday and today. If there is a way of screening to know whether we can, it's a way of screening so that we don't go through these processes at every border, it will be fine with us. Because eventually going to other countries, if you go into the country and you don't feel it within the same country again. But this is what is happening to us, and that's the only thing.
But I believe it's for a good cause. We all know of the coronavirus issues.
Okay. So, really, it's for a good cause. So there should be a proper center. Like if it's the airport that we have the main, and you go through it and you don't have, I don't think people are allowed within the country. You have the virus there. Okay, so within Ghana you don't have the virus. Then we cannot. There's no way we can contaminate or get the same virus.
But the local health officials disagree.
You went to Togo and you are coming back. You don't know what's happening there. And the temperature, maybe when you came here, you'll be well. But when you were there, something might have happened. So when you are coming in again and it's kill you, I don't think it's something bad. It is in the right direction. All we are doing, making sure that those with the infection, when they get you, we're able to pick them at point and then we send them for assessment.
The fate of many of these travelers rely on border post officials. The coronavirus outbreak is yet to be declared a pandemic by the World Health Organization. For now, we need to exercise utmost caution. These include washing of hands frequently with soap and running water, and staying away from people showing signs of fever, cough, and difficulty in breathing. Fred Duho's report for Joy Business. Meanwhile, the coronavirus outbreak in China is already taking a toll on businesses, especially on prices of mobile phones and accessories in the Ashanti region. Our checks reveal prices are up between 5 and 10%, as many traders who import from China have suspended their travels to the Asian country. Prince Appiah has been engaging dealers and users on this development and has come through with this report.
According to the United Nations ComTrade database on international trade, Ghana's imports in 2018 was worth $2.27 billion US. Out of this, electrical equipment and electronics constitute more than $240 million US. It tells you how Ghana depends on the Chinese market for a lot of things, especially electricals and electronic equipment. Francis Yili is a mobile phone retailer and laptop repairer in Kumasi. So I came here to get a phone screen, my A7 Samsung phone. It got cracked a few days ago, and I'm told that they've run out of stock. Surprised though, but that's the situation for most of the phone sellers and phone shops here in the Ashanti region because of the China situation.
It has affected a lot of items. As you enter here, you were asking me about your phone screen, and they told me the price, but they said they don't have it because of no production, and they can't send goods.
Francis cannot travel to China to bring in new stock due to the outbreak in China. He is worried about the impact business operators are already enduring.
Right now, they have even increased the prices of the products, laptop screens and the phone screens. And even right now, we have increased the price about 5%. We have increased the price. And still, the prices are still continuing increasing. So
we are looking at it going to maybe 10%, maybe next week or maybe next month?
Yes, it might be more than 10%.
At Tech Junction is another retailer, Superlovic Phones, which deals in brands like Techno and Itel. Owner of the shop says prices have gone up due to shortage of the stock.
Yes, it has really affected our business because there are some shortage of phones, especially Infinix and Technos. Some customers come here, they don't get some to buy. First, Infinix or Tate, now Benyano, 560, they say do say something. Itel, no, 360, they say do 380.
So what about patrons of these products? Some who spoke to Love Business explain they are also feeling the brand.
It was Infinix Hot 8. I bought it at 557. But there was a time I went there, they told me there is a shortage. So I went to this retail shop to buy. And the guy there told me there has been increase of 100 cedis to it, and I didn't buy it. You see, as I'm speaking now, I have a lot of shortage here, especially batteries and freeze, phone cables, especially the iPhone cables. There has been a shortage. So when you go there, they will tell you go and come the following day. The following day you go, they will tell the same story that they don't have.
The trend seems to offer no guarantee to phone businesses here in Kumasi. There are fears of many people being pushed out of business if the development persists for 2 or more months.
And if we continue like this, I think most of people will stay home.
Aren't you looking at elsewhere to import from maybe Europe or?
I don't think so. Even most of the European countries and the Americans, they depend on China. The production are from China.
And so this has become a major worry to the leadership of the Ghana Union of Traders Association. Here is the regional chairman, Anthony Fosu.
As far as mobile phones are concerned, most of the accessories are coming from China. So if the situation does not improve over there in China, it means we are in for a trouble. Plans are far advanced. I think by the close of next month, a delegation from the Ghana Union of Traders is going to Mexico. They are very good in production of mobile phones accessories, which are mostly also coming from China. So we are looking elsewhere for that.
The fate of many businesses hang in the balance until the coronavirus outbreak ends due to the extent of Ghanaian reliance on China for trade. Prince Apia reporting.
Let's now turn attention to one of our top stories tonight. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has warned Ghana it may not be possible to repay $2 billion bauxite-backed loan it contracted with Chinese state company Sino-Hydro in 2018. The IMF says, could lead to a loss of collateral. The IMF's concerns were captured in a new report released by the Natural Resource Governance Institute dubbed Resource-Backed Loans, Pitfalls and Potential. According to the report, resource-backed loans have contributed to crippling debt levels in Africa and are shrouded in secrecy. I have with me via Skype Gideon Ofosu-Piasa. He is the Deputy Director, Africa Center for Energy and Environmental Sustainability, to give us his thoughts about this current report. Gideon, you're welcome to Business Live.
Thank you very much, and then good evening to your viewers.
All right. Now, why is this report coming at this time? Because in total, we know that the bauxite reserves for the country is over 400 billion, and we are about to pay $2 billion out of it. Why should we be concerned?
We should be concerned because of a worrying trend that the Natural Resource Governance Institute have identified. We realized that they looked at 52 resource-backed loans, and then this was between 2004 to 2018. Now, they realized that about 53% of them were from 2 Chinese policy banks. that is the Chinese Development Bank, and then the Chinese Exim Bank. Now, what is happening is that most African countries do see the collateralization of their natural resources, especially minerals and then oil, as an innovative financing scheme. So, for instance, you have cash for oil in places like Angola and China. In Ghana, we have cash for bauxite with China. And then this is also going on in many other countries. And then what is happening is that there is a risk for borrowing because most governments do not have a long-term development plan. And then as a matter of fact, they govern nations using their manifesto. And then given the short electoral cycle time, what happens is that they promise a lot, and as a matter of fact, do not have the financial muscle to be able to prosecute their agenda. So what they want to do is that, for instance, if I have a 4-year electoral cycle, and then I've promised so much, and then after every 4 years there will be an election, then I will have to leverage on my natural resources for money. And then they would want to use very nice terms like barter trade and then all that. Now, the key thing is that when you usually go for resource-backed loans, it is usually subject to corruption risks. Why? Because you realize that those contracts and then negotiations are shrouded in secrecy. One of the things that our duty bearers fails to do is that they forget that the natural resources they are negotiating for, they are doing that on behalf of the citizens. So as a matter of fact, there is no form of transparency around the whole process. Now, it is very important for them to understand transparency is very important, because when you are transparent about the whole process, what happens is that you open up the contract to review to the larger population. So there will be people with different expertise who will not be on the negotiation team, but because you've made your contract public, they will be able to make meaningful contributions to it. So in other places, what they do is that they usually share with you a draft contract, they engage civil society, they engage the public to make inputs, and then they go back to the...
Yes, but see, my concern is that, Gideon, my concern is that the IMF is warning us that we could lose collaterally because we may not be able to pay or to repay the $2 billion. By natural sense, the totality of the bauxite reserves that we are leveraging on is over $400 billion. So why should the IMF, raise this concern at this time?
You see, the total volume of bauxite resources that we have does not mean that we can exploit all those bauxite resources. There is a measure to which you can exploit your minerals resources too. There is a measure to which you can exploit your oil resources too. So that is what the figures will say. But that these are gross figures. But when you look at the net figures, it may be far lesser than that. And then, as a matter of fact, looking at the terms of the contract and then the timelines which are tied to the contract, you realize that there are certain assumptions that are used in forecasting. And then because you are working with volatile commodities like oil and then the minerals, a country like Ghana is a price taker. And then as a matter of fact, does not influence world prices in any way. So you may put in certain assumptions, you want to do your forecast, and then you may want to find yourself within a particular time period for repayment. And then what happens is that when there are breaches, the impact of those breaches are so great that as a matter of fact, will not go for the country. Again,
I'm afraid we don't have much time. We have to end here. Thank you very much, Gideon Piasa. And Gideon Ofosu Piasa is the Deputy Director, Africa Center for Energy and Environmental Sustainability. Away from that, government has directed all freight forwarders, clearing agents and other stakeholders at the ports to adopt a new customs management system for clearance of goods effective March 1. All other importers will be required to use the existing pre-arrival assessment report system and the Ghana Customs Management System. This was contained in a letter signed by Senior Minister Yao Osafo Mafo to all stakeholders, including freight forwarders, on Wednesday, February 26. President of GIF, Eddie Akron, expressed his displeasure at the latest development and stated implementation would bring about some confusion at the ports.
We were told there was some, piloting done in Aflao. I can tell for a fact it did not happen. Okay, Takoradi, same thing last week. Our guys have reported back to us. This did not happen. Elubo, the last time they were in Elubo was October 30th, and we have the minutes of that meeting, to confirm. So no training has been done. How are you going to migrate onto the system? The fear also is that if this instruction is coming from the senior minister, what is Customs going to do? Are they going to shut down the GCNet system? We already have declarations in the system, mind you. So what are they going to do? Migrate it onto the other system, or what is going to happen?
But from what we understand, it's basically the same. There's no difference. So do you think it's still going to pose a problem if we have similar systems?
Of course it's going to pose a problem. This is technology. If we are migrating onto your system, we migrate onto your system. There's nothing like a midway, okay? Or some kind of connection between the two. So if you ask this one to stop and shut down, then we are migrating onto this one. So what happens? Is Customs going to shut down? It's going to be chaotic. These are two major transit points that we have. You have goods running in all across West Africa, so coming through Aflao to Elubo and vice versa, okay? And these are major transit points. It is a bit chaotic, and we plead with them to just tarry a while, because trust me, all this in the letter, asking our members to, going for their codes, and they would have no clue as to where to go. 2-3 weeks ago, we actually wrote to the Commissioner of Customs to seek audience with him, with the nature of, the training facilitation that was being done, because we had worries with it. We had been there, done that before, so the quality assurance was there, and we needed, so we can do the comparative analysis. So
Eddie Akron is the president of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders. He was talking earlier on the marketplace. Meanwhile, Commissioner of Customs, Colonel Kwejudamwa, insists the Unipass has a potential advantage over the current port management system by GCNet. He further disagrees with the president of GIF that they were not engaged at the various borders.
I have visited all the places that our operational teams have visited, and they were confirmed. I met with freight forwarders at Gunokrom in the Bono region, at Aflao, at Elubo, in Takoradi, and in Accra and Tema. So for him to say that there hasn't been any form of engagement whatsoever, that may not be. What I know is that they had hoped, and I think that was correct, that they would have been engaged much earlier than we did. There were a lot of uncertainties in 2019. I believe that might have accounted for it, because at a point in time, we were made to believe that this process was going to start somewhere in January 2019, and then it was postponed to June, September. So that might have accounted for it. But if we had started the engagement with them much earlier, I'm sure things would have been much different and better. But it is not true that we have not engaged them at all.
So far, will you consider the Unipass to be more efficient now that it's being rolled out, okay, compared to the GCNet and Co?
The efficiency of the system, certainly, potentially, yes, potentially, because of the facility that it provides, that everything can be rolled onto just one platform without using different platforms, and it makes provision for all the things. Don't forget that the former or the existing service providers have been there. We've worked with them, so we've seen the challenges there, and all those challenges are being addressed here. So on the hindsight, having access and having worked with the existing ones, we are better informed to make more suggestions to the incoming one. So if you look at it from that angle, then it appears that potentially the incoming one stands a better chance in terms of superiority of facilities and all that.
They also raised concern about costs. They said the new one, which is the Unipass, is quite expensive than the other one.
Now, certainly, if you put the cost of GCNet and the cost of West Blue together, and then you take the cost of Unipass, there's a slight difference. It is true that the figure for Unipass is slightly higher, okay, but it is just in terms of decimals. It's not up to 1 point. And the fact is that because you have everything rolled onto one platform now, that certainly is a direct charge. But if you were to look at the separate system that we operate there, and some incidental charges that you incur by going to one before you go to the other. It means in the aggregate, we are almost about the same.
Well, so Joy Business will be monitoring closely as the new Unipass system takes over the current system on 1st March, that's Sunday. And that will be it for Business Live tonight. Many thanks for your company. For more business news, log on to myjoyonline.com/business, where we have a lot more business headlines on that platform. My name is Emmanuel Abwaji. Have a great weekend.